and he posted this on Facebook Live. This is how we found out about the situation over there, and he's given the assessment of what happened with all those winds, and look at the damage caused over there. Then we move on to the rest of the area in Kathleen. Remember, when Tim was covering this overnight, he went to Kathleen Middle School, and Kathleen Middle School was pretty damaged too. So this is the track that I got right now. This is Timberlake Road over here. It moves on to Mount Tabor, and these are the images that you guys sent us and that we were able to compile together. Moving on to Kathleen Middle School, and that stuff road up here. So you can make a whole track of what happened overnight with that storm, with some of the pictures that were sent to us and some of the images that we were able to record and share with you guys of that destruction and damage that happened overnight in Polk County. And this is happening throughout all of Tampa Bay in little sparsely areas. There's Seminole in Pinellas County. We know that there was a touchdown over there, and we have all that information.
This entire street looks like right now. It looks like the tornado came almost right up this street. And we are seeing all sorts of house damage, damage to cars. You can see trees down. There is siding in trees, of course. We always seem to see that in these storms. And if we can take a look at some drone video, we actually just got this. This is brand new. And this is going to give you a really wide shot of what we are looking at right here, where, again, you can see how widespread the damage is. And you can see all sorts of things in the street that aren't usually there. Things like those branches, parts of houses, parts of roofs, things like that. And I was talking with some neighbors, and they said it was pretty terrifying here last night.
I got out of bed immediately, and I called my wife, and I said, tornado, let's head toward the closet. So we were just about in the closet, and we heard a tremendous boom, and I think that's when the top of the second story just took off and landed in the neighbor's yard.
And back here live again, you're seeing another look at that damage here and just how serious it is in this neighborhood. And you can probably start hearing, you're now hearing the sounds of saws and things like that as folks are now getting into the cleanup mode, also waiting on insurance companies to come by. And so a little bit of good news here. We do have a little bit
strong gusts coming through still. I mean, how fast are some of these gusts coming through?
Well, we've had some gusts there into over 40 miles per hour just in the last hour across parts of our viewing area. And that's going to be the story this afternoon. Even with a lot of the rain starting to pull out of the area, the wind gusts are going to continue, and occasionally we'll get these squally showers coming through when the winds really get your attention. By tomorrow, the winds will be subsided a whole lot more. Right now, as we check out Clystron 9, you can see that the lion's share of the rain has been moving eastward and is now located mainly across the eastern half of Florida, then cutting back across parts of Polk County. But again, even that is lifting rapidly away. Meanwhile, there's a couple of showers and bands offshore. I'm not highly concerned about this. We will get those showers moving in, but I am not seeing any rotation with any of this. I really feel like the major tornado threat is behind us. Officially, we're under a tornado watch till noon, but again, I have a feeling what we're seeing offshore right now will just be nuisance showers coming in with some gusty winds. Let me take you outside, and speaking of the winds have been changing direction. Earlier today, they were out of the southeast blowing offshore. Now they're out of the south. This is Madeira Beach, courtesy of Innovation Cabinetry, and the winds are blowing right at the shoreline. So we're starting to see the surf really picking up. Notice the overwash taking place and some pretty good wave action right along that sidewalk out there. That's going to be the story the rest of the day. As those winds continue to push more and more on shore, the sea, the Gulf of Mexico, will get more churned up, and we'll get more and more of this little storm surge coming through. We're looking not at a major storm surge, but at the time of high tide later on this afternoon and evening, maybe on the order of a couple of feet or so. Checking out those winds I'm speaking of, there you go. A wind gust of 43 at St. Petersburg. Very high winds elsewhere across the area, gusting to 32 at Bradenton, 26 at Lake Wales. And again, earlier today, all the winds were blowing offshore. Now out of the south, they're blowing right at the southern Pinellas County shoreline, causing that water to pile up. That's why we saw the view that we did at Madeira Beach. And eventually later today, those winds will be onshore all the way up the Nature Coast. And so even up there, we'll be worrying about a storm surge with our late day high tide coming up.
The weird thing is that this side of the road has tons of damage. Right across the street has barely any at all, which just shows the tornado came right through here. You can see the insides of this house are pretty much all over the place. The roof is destroyed. The screen has but it's in the backyard where the damage is especially bad. There are pieces of siding that are up in the trees. The power box has completely fallen apart. The damage here is pretty much as bad as you can expect. And the homeowner, when we spoke with him a few minutes ago, he said that it sounded like a train was coming through. Then all of a sudden, his home was lifted up off its foundation and moved 2 feet off the foundation. So that just shows how powerful that tornado is. He says when he looks at this damage, he feels sick to his stomach. He only just moved here recently, and it's going to take, he says, at least a year to put everything back together. He says it's just sickening. So, you know, he's planning to go stay with friends, and while he continues to work on this property, the property next door is just as badly damaged, and we'll bring you more details on that and more from the homeowner.
Hello, now Sarah, are conditions improving there, or are they staying the same?
Well, you know, Aaron, Ozello is one of those flood-prone areas of Citrus County, and if you just look around, it actually doesn't look that bad here. But if you take a look at this bench, you can see that the water is higher than normal. It seems like things are getting a little bit better than they were earlier today, and we spoke with Sheriff Mike Prendergast just a little while ago, and he said most of the county is only seeing minor flooding in spots. He says that the county really dodged a bullet because, again, we were expecting those possible pockets where 3 to 5 feet of storm surge was possible. But the sheriff says that he is not letting his guard down just yet. He tells me that he's going to be continuing to watch the weather closely throughout the day because, as we heard our weather experts mention, we could start to see those winds push the water toward shore, causing possibly storm surge, more issues. He says he's going to be watching the wind direction along with high tide to just continue to keep the county safe, to continue to see if there's...
You are in good spirits this morning, and that's because no one here was hurt. And as you saw, I had my hand on my head there. We just got a really strong wind gust. The winds have really picked up here maybe in the last 15 minutes or so. And that's been a change from what we've seen since we've been out here this morning. Now, I do want to show you the damage here. If you take a look, we've been showing you in this all morning. This is a portion of a mobile home that's been twisted around this wall here, then also the power line here as well. Now, in speaking to residents, found out that all of this came from the mobile home over here to our left. It came from the patio area, which is just on the other side of the building here, and then in the storm last night, it got blown all the way this way. And we actually just noticed, just before we went live here, if you take a look into that tree, there's a part of that canopy that we've been looking at all day that actually has gotten stuck in that tree. It was blown over there by the wind. Now, if you've been with us this morning, we've also been showing you some of the damage in the business center that is just behind the camera here. There are some awnings that have been damaged, a few roofs that have been damaged. We also spoke to one of the business owners here who was shocked to see the damage, but she tells us she's just very thankful that it was not any worse.
Thank God that nothing really, happened to the building except this, but, I'm glad that the building was safe and everything in there, is fine.
For all the aspects of this storm.
And the good thing is with this next high tide, generally speaking, it won't be as high compared to the earlier tide cycle, even without the fact that we saw that wind going
You're
on.
absolutely right. And that means that the storm surge effects later today, they'll probably be more minor than what we hopefully saw this morning. And that's good news. Again, this has not been the storm of the century, and we're thankful for that. Right now, the time is about